Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Knightfall Catwoman. It's about time we got a comic Catwoman figure, and I'm really fond of the purple suit from the 90s. That was when I was reading comics as a teenager, preteen, etc. So it's right up my alley. Also a huge fan of Knightfall. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane toys, ages 12 plus, DC Multiverse Catwoman. Here she is in the package. Looks like she comes with a display stand, collector's card, 2 alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands, and a giant whip. One side of the package, Catwoman from Batman Knightfall. Other side says Catwoman. At the bottom, got a bunch of credits, and there is a barcode, in case it helps anybody. And on the back side, here's an image of Catwoman from the comics wearing that purple suit. So no further ado, let's open her up. And I got this figure with a huge shipment of figures from figureneforall.com. It's a Canadian-based website. They have all the newest stuff for retail price. There's a 5% off discount code. Overall, this was cheaper than it would be to buy them at Target or Walmart. Cheaper than retail in the long run. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here she is with all of her accessories laid out. She comes with a display stand, a collector's card, 2 alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands, and then this giant awesome whip. But before we take a look at those, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Catwoman from Knightfall. Catwoman wore this purple suit throughout the 90s, during Knightfall, in her own series. This is one of my favorite versions of Catwoman. When I was a preteen, teenager, this is how she looked in the comics. Purple suit, big old boobs. That's just how they drew her back then. It's kind of what I associate Catwoman with. She's had many, many different looks over the years, and this one has a special place in my heart. So let's take a look. Start with her face here. Looks good. She got small ears. She's got the eye holes with a little sort of extra notch on top. Her signature look in the comics. Long black hair. It's got some sort of blue highlights. Going further down. Chest, a little smaller than I remember it in the comics. Giant gloves, giant boots. Kind of sexy there. Now her diaper area. The coloring is just a tiny bit lighter than the rest. It looks a little off. Looks a little bit more in person noticeable than on camera. Now I've seen a lot of people complain about her crotch area. It looks like she has sort of a penis here, a big bulge. I don't necessarily agree with that. I saw a long post on the Foosh forums, and I could not believe what I was reading. They were arguing if it looked like a bulge from a penis or a bulge from large pubic hair, and it just cracked me up seeing a whole page of people discussing that. Personally, I think it's blown a little bit out of proportion. Yes, it could be toned down just a little bit, but I don't think it's that bad until your attention is brought to it. Then it's kind of hard to look away from. But we'll talk about that no further. Backside looks halfway decent, although where the butt sort of connects to the legs looks a little off. Overall, very good looking Catwoman figure. You know, could be 1 or 2 little places of improvement, but as a whole, I definitely like what I'm seeing. She does have these high heels, which makes it a little bit difficult to stand. And just a closer look at her face and head sculpt. Very well done. I think it looks fantastic. And then, here's the figure broken down as far as she can go, with all of her removable parts detached. Now let's take a look at her accessories, and let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's her display stand. Typical McFarlane stand we've seen plenty of times. Black perfect circle. It says DC on the bottom. It's got 1 peg for the peg holes on her feet. Very thin, very basic. Now let's look at her collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Catwoman in that purple suit from the comics. Catwoman from Batman Knightfall. On the back side, there is a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. Now let's look at her hands. She has a total of 4 of them, 2 left hands and 2 right hands. Here she is with her first pair of hands. These are her open hands. And her hands kind of have claws sticking out. Nice little touch there. And here she is with her second pair of hands. These are a pair of gripping hands for her whip. And speaking of, here's her whip. This thing is massive. It is very impressive. It's made of kind of a rubbery material, very, very bendable. Starting off with the handle here, it's got this extra piece for a hold. Nice sculpted detail on the handle, and very nice sculpted detail across the whip. Looks threaded, kind of like some rope, and it just goes on and on and on. This thing is a fantastic accessory. Just goes on forever. I actually measured this whip, and when outstretched, it is 20.5 inches long. This thing is impressive, to say the least. Here's Catwoman holding her whip. Here's Catwoman with her whip wrapped all around herself. Now they've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and her accessories. Now let's check out her height. From bottom to the top of her head, she's standing at about 6.75 inches tall, which can translate to about 17 centimeters. And now for her articulation. Start with her head here. Of course, it can rotate from side to side. She can look up about that far, down about that far. Can't tilt her head from one side to the other. You would think the hair would obstruct a lot of that, but it has a lot of give to it, a lot of wiggle room. Almost feels like it's hinged up there, but it's not. Easily can look up. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out about 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. She's got a butterfly joint between her shoulder and chest area, increasing the range of motion and covering the large gap. Bicep cut, done very well at the top of her glove. Double jointed elbows, they go all the way in. Her wrist, can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. Ball joint her torso, rotate around, forward and back. Another ball joint her waist, rotate around, forward and back, giving her pretty good range of motion in her torso area. Legs, completely different splits, not a ball joint, McFarlane style hip joints. They go forward about that far, back not much. Double jointed knees. The rotation is very minimal, pretty much non-existent in her hips. Then her ankle here, forward and back. Rotation. Tilt, rock. And she has toe articulation. Here's Catwoman laying down on a Gotham City rooftop. Here's an image of Catwoman kissing Batman on the rooftop. And then here's Catwoman surrounded by a bunch of cats, taking a couple of duffel bags full of money out of this vault. Cat thief indeed. Now let's check her out next to some other action figures. Starting off with some other Catwoman figures. Here she is, next to the DC Direct Knightfall Catwoman. This is Catwoman based off the same source material, the same outfit, those thigh-high boots. Of course, this figure is not articulated that well, but the sculpt is gorgeous. This Catwoman looks much better than McFarlane's version. If you could somehow sort of mix and match the two figures, you'd have something awesome. Her head sculpt is great. Big ass titties, just like the 90s comics. Then, they also made one in the DC Direct, DC Essentials line, Knightfall Catwoman. This one has much better articulation, but doesn't look quite as good. Looks a little more bland and generic. There was also a Yamato version of Catwoman wearing the same costume, and even Kenner made one back in the day, part of their Legends of Batman line. And there are other Catwoman figures with purple outfits, not based off her look from Knightfall. On the left we have a Mezco figure, and on the right, a couple of Mattel figures. Here she is, next to my McFarlane DC Multiverse Catwoman figures. Big shout out to my boy Jason and his wife for painting me the unmasked Selina Kyle on the far right. Here's McFarlane's new Catwoman, next to a Diamond Select Catwoman from Gotham, Selina Kyle, or Cat. And here she is, next to all of my DC Direct and DC Collectibles Catwoman figures. Then, next to a Soap Studios Catwoman. Here she is, next to the Yamato Catwoman. Then, next to a couple of Mezco 112 Collective Catwoman figures. Here she is, next to all my different Mattel Catwoman figures. And here she is, next to my Mayfix Catwoman figures. Then, next to the SH Figure Arts Catwoman. Here's this Catwoman, next to a Hot Toys 112 scale Dark Knight Rises Catwoman. And now, with some older Kenner Catwoman figures. And let's not forget the 1966 Catwoman figures by both Mattel and McFarlane. And here are absolutely all of the Catwoman figures in my collection. Here she is, next to a Danger Girl figure. I use this for an unmasked Selina Kyle. This Danger Girl figure is wearing almost the exact same outfit as the Hush Catwoman. Now let's check her out. Next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here she is, next to the Hush Batman, Knightfall Catwoman, Rebirth Mr. Freeze, and the Infinite Frontier Joker. You can get these 4 figures together in a bundle for a fair price in the McFarlane toy store, if they haven't already sold out. And here she is, next to the Walmart exclusive gold label Vampire Batman and Eradicator. And now, next to the Shazam 2 movie Shazam and the Amazon exclusive Tim Drake Robin. Here's this Catwoman, next to the Amazon exclusive Batman Family 5-pack. And here she is, next to the 2 most recent Mega figures, Frankenstein and Mongol. Then, next to the most recent McFarlane Gaming Wave, we have the Arkham City Sick Joker and the Arkham Knight Red Hood and Scarecrow. And now, next to McFarlane's Mortal Kombat 11 DC offerings, the Batman Who Laughs and Joker. Here's Catwoman, next to the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Hush Superman and Rebirth Kid Flash. Now let's check her out. Next to some of the recent McFarlane Build-A-Figure waves. Here she is, next to the Target exclusive Crime Syndicate wave, Collect-A-Build Star the Conqueror. And here she is, next to the Speed Metal wave, Collect-A-Build The Darkest Knight. Then, next to the Batman Arkham City wave, Collect-A-Build an undersized Solomon Grundy. And now, next to the Walmart exclusive gold label black and gray variants, here's Catwoman, next to the 3rd wave of Page Punchers. This is a Flash themed wave. Flash, Atom, Heatwave, Grizzly Rod, and both versions of Captain Cold. And here she is, next to the 2nd wave of Page Punchers. This is based off Injustice 2, Dr. Fate, Supergirl, Batman, and Green Arrow. Then, next to the 1st wave of Page Punchers, this is a Black Adam themed wave. Batman, Superman, Constantine, and Black Adam. Here she is, next to some more recent Target exclusive figures, Ocean Master, and the 30th anniversary of Batman from Batman the Animated Series. Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. Then, next to some more recent Target exclusive figures, Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern from Changing the Guard, Defiant Deathstroke, the Black Adam movie, Black Adam with Throne, and the Justice League Endless Winter Wonder Woman variant. And finally, next to some more Walmart exclusive figures, Azrael Batman Armor, Parallax Hal Jordan, Speed Metal Dark Flash, and Rebirth Shazam. Now let's check her out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how she fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you don't know which ones you can mix her with. Since she's a McFarlane DC Multiverse figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I want to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work my smaller. But first, let's check her out with some from McFarlane Toys Brothers and Sisters. In Freddy were 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, next to some more McFarlane Toys, these are from different various video game properties. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures. Here she is, next to Kat Mulder. And here she is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, with some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here she is, standing with some NECA toys. Then, with some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, with some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here she is, next to some Mezco 112 collective figures. Then, with some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here she is, next to some Mafex figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here she is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. Overall, she's a very nice Catwoman figure. This is pretty much my favorite Catwoman look. Don't get me wrong, I consider sort of the Hush Catwoman look to be the modern default look for Catwoman. But this is a Catwoman I grew up with as a preteen. Now complaints about her. The purple seems a little bit off. Seems, I don't know, a little bit too light. Also her diaper area, it doesn't quite match the rest of her body, purple-wise. And yes, there's a bulge there. But that bulge is not nearly as offensive as I expected it to be based off the pictures and comments that I saw. Her whip is fantastic. I've got a ton of different Catwoman whips, and this one is the best by far. Her articulation is everything you'd expect from a modern McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. Sculpt and paint job are excellent, no issues there. If I had to rate this figure, I'm going to give her a 7 out of 10. Really wish I was giving her more like an 8, but I don't know, something about the color is just a little bit off to me. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.